beautiful place that I'm dreaming right now. So, howdy. First and foremost, anything that I'm blabbing out of my mouth, these are all just noises, right? I'm not trying to teach anything. I'm not. If you're hearing me right now, you are dreaming me. So, we are all energy source expressing itself, and I get so excited sometimes just wanting to express these things and these realizations, and it's just and I know you guys who have been following me also resonate with this constant, you just absorb this wisdom, knowledge, everything. You're just studying and learning so many different things. And within my story, the more and more I hear from these other avatars who are awakening, it's just, it brings a sense of joy that is indescribable with words. Anyways, I wanted to talk about different things, right? I'm not too organized, if you haven't noticed. I don't look at this as a YouTube channel. I mean, I could care less about subs and all that. I just simply record out of the joy of recording, my joy for learning, for life. This is beautiful. Okay, so let's see. What's arising right now? I wanted to talk about I would say not a disagreement, but we were going back and forth on a comment. There was a podcast recently. This was really interesting. Joe Rogan Experience. He had Sadhguru, and I'm sure a lot of y'all guys have heard of Sadhguru, right? The Eastern mystic from India, and it was just very interesting watching two people on completely different levels of consciousness communicating. And a lot of things that Sadhguru were saying to Joe, I noticed, completely went over his head, because it's hard to explain, but we're all so entrapped in our story that when someone, like me or something that you hear from out there that says, hey, this is a dream, that there is no you, it sounds ridiculous. If you don't have that inner shift of perception, because the comments that I got in with this guy, there was someone in the comments who wrote something about, I love how there's enlightened beings coming down to help us ascend, something like that. And then I just simply wrote, there's really no such thing as enlightenment. But he's like, anyways, so we went on this, and then he asked me, what do I feel enlightenment is? And to me, first of all, it's just a word. Everything that can be said, everything you've ever read, it's just all words, it's all stories, right? What I feel enlightenment is, it's when you perceive this inner shift. It's an inner shift, because remember, everything is perception. So to me, in my character story, it was an inner shift of perception on what I identify myself as of, right? Like, so when I say the me sense, right, it's this name, it's our attributes, it's our personality, and sometimes we feel confined of having to be this way because this is the story we have written for ourselves. But just any other people who are dreaming me right now, if you can hear that this is happening outside of yourself with other avatars, then it will somehow feed your soul. I don't know if that makes sense, but this is just what happens within me when I hear other people sharing. Anyway, shout out to Sue Shaw. You're amazing. I appreciate our little exchange of information. We were just sending back and forth links to certain things. I love you, hardcore, you seekers of truth, and now it's become like seeking. It's not like I have to seek to get somewhere. I have to be enlightened. Now it's just like, it's just marveling at the beauty and joy of this creation, and then also, of course, applying it to my everyday life, because what's the point of spirituality and all this, right? If it's not applied to your life, if it doesn't change your self-simulated reality. Okay, here's another one, guys. Sorry, I know I get super excited. Just That's why I got to do live streams sometimes so I could ease into my words. But I just get so much joy from, I don't know what it is. There's no words. But so anyways, also another interesting thing, I was watching another podcast. It's called Simulation. It was a talk between Chris Langan, which, if you guys don't know, he's the smartest man in the world, the highest IQ, right? And so I'm really into theories of everything, right? Tying in gravity with quantum physics, right? Theory of everything, trying to explain. I'm really into hearing these things because the left part of my brain really enjoys, right? Anyways, so basically he came out with a theory of everything, Chris Langan did, if you want to look him up. And a lot of it, wow, it was so yummy to my soul, to whatever you want to call it. It was so yummy hearing this because he basically was describing this as this avatar, this body that we are. He labeled it as a control sensor. Okay, so basically all of us, okay, God, source, whatever you want to call this, it does not see time like our brains see time, right? Because, so if you've heard of the block universe, it's sort of like God is already seeing everything, past, future, and present, and the only way source can see within itself is through these eyes, the control sensors, and that's what we are. We are God. We are in communion with God ever since we were born, right? But I've noticed the more we get enthralled with this me sense, the more we want to protect the me, the more the me wants to grab onto things, right? And once it's and then it becomes you against the whole universe, right? And there's no way. You're just but a speck of this whole vast blank screen. But anyways, he also came up with something very interesting. Now, I know you guys heard of the simulation hypothesis. Nick Bostrom, I believe, was the first one who came up with it. Or I'm sorry, he didn't come up with it, but he proposed the argument, the simulation argument. But basically, so a lot scientists and physicists are starting to catch up to this Eastern philosophy, right? It's beautiful when it all comes together because that's what it's all about. We're all one thing. And then I think this is the joy of why would God do this, right? You're probably asking, why would God want to make us be people and forget? And why would God make us suffer, right? No. It's only the you who suffers. God there's no suffering within this. Suffering arises from attachment to story, okay? Now, of course you've got to be me, right? I even had a guy in the comments say, oh, good luck losing your me sense and still eating, right? See, it's this sort of consciousness that doesn't understand. It's a constant balance of flowing with life, but also, using intellect when you have to use it, but not using intellect to extend extra unneeded energy when one is engaging in a argument or something, right? You see, so practicing this every day allows me, or is allowing the character in my story to still function in life. Obviously, you need ego to function, right? It's not separate, and it's nothing we have to kill. I'm just saying, with this inner shift in perception of knowing that it's all you playing with yourself, you will eventually recenter back to the heart. And then you can start thinking from the heart as opposed to intellect. Now, the heart is actually, I don't know if y'all guys heard of Greg Braden. I know y'all have, but the Heart Math Institute, all this is just showing that everything is already complete. And more control sensors, avatars, meat suits, space, whatever you want to call these. And it's beautiful, and the dream gets created the further and further. So I'll see grass, and then I'll see this, and it's beautiful. And sometimes I find myself just staring at this, a leaf or anything, and trying to, in my head, okay, it's like, don't think it's a piece of grass. Don't think anything. Just look at how mysterious it is. Like, Oh, I don't know how to explain this. Like I'm not great with words. Okay, it's more of a feeling thing, and it's beautiful. Um, Okay, and what else? Okay, so yeah. Anyways, I just found it interesting how he was tying in and how a lot of other physicists are starting to understand that all is mind. Okay, so basically, you are a control sensor to God, kind of like God's feelers in this world, right? And what it is everything you see is information, but the double slit experiment kind of sort of proves that our reality is tied in. I mean, it's all one thing. It's a feedback loop, speaking to itself, making sense of itself in the world. But this is not true reality. This is not true reality. If any of you guys heard of E8 theory or quantum gravity research, it's beautiful. And I've spoken about this before. But it's beautiful. It's as if our reality is a projection from a higher dimensionality. Our brain cannot comprehend. Right, 16 dimensions, right? Kind of like a crystal, and that's what this is. That we're a reflection of it, and it makes so much sense because when I was experimenting with DMT, dimethyltryptamine, whatever you want to call it, it completely shatters time because language keeps you in time. You see, it's so liberating. But if a certain consciousness hears this, they completely, immediately shut it off. But what do you tell me? There's no time. Okay, well, how are you going to make it to work? See, they're not grasping that there is this sense of oneself who can separate in a view. It's beautiful. And then there's another level to it where it can separate. Oh, I don't know how to explain this, but it's all a beautiful thing. It's all grace. Grateful for this. This has truly impacted my life. The story of my character, I guess you can see, and I find more joy in everything, in everyday things, and I'm not so. It's beautiful. Anyways, Sushal, I look forward to doing that StreamYard with you, and I would love to do StreamYards with any of y'all who just want to just chat. We could do it on the weekends. I just think this is all fun, and I love sharing this with other truth seekers. I literally listen to podcasts and stuff about consciousness, free will, 24/7. I cannot get enough. So I hope any of y'all got anything. If you didn't, oh well. This is all entertainment. God talking to God. I'm in your head. You are dreaming me. Nothing more, nothing less. No point. Just to experience. It's such a mystery. Beautiful. See y'all soon.